further ado here, let's jump in. Your 450 race recap brought to you by our friends at Gutterworks. Always well hung, just like Justin Barsha. And we're just going to start off with the generational talent he is, Jet Lawrence. Now, I will say, what happened yesterday with Jet going 1-1 did not surprise me at all. Number one, Fox Raceway, he's really good there. He's now 6-0. He's won 5 straight 250 races there. He has won now his first 450 race there. Does not surprise me at all. First moto, he gets out front, and he just kind of managed. He got to about a 10-second lead, and he basically just managed it. I don't know what was going on with Chase that first moto. He didn't seem to have anything for Jet per se, and he kind of got not the greatest of starts, had to work through the couple guys that were there. And needless to say, just couldn't even get close to him. And I think maybe the crash in practice might have had a little something to do with that too. That was a pretty good lick he took. But anyway, the second moto was a lot of what I expect to see most of this season. Kind of like Tomac and Chase did last year, where they just battled each other and ran away. I expect to see a lot of the same out of Jet and Chase. And I mean, they did. They beat Ferrandis by 44 seconds, which is insane. I mean, Jet was sitting under the tent, helmet off, debriefing by the time Ferrandis crossed the finish line. Absolutely gnarly. And Chase made a few attempts at Jet there during that race, but there really wasn't a whole bunch of places to pass, and he just didn't have anything for him. Jet made a couple of small mistakes. Nothing really to write home about, though, and it was just Jet's day. I'm going to tone down my hard-on for Jet here, because I do not think this is going to be every single race this summer, as far as him going 1-1, but you got to admit, he's now run 4 450 motos, and he's won 3 of them. It's not a good look for everybody else. I do think Chase will have something for him, though, moving forward, though. Like I said, I think you get Chase on a day where he doesn't hit the deck that hard in practice or whatever. I think you're going to see a lot closer racing. So, and like I said with Chase, practice crash, 2-2. Didn't look good the first moto. Second moto, he stayed right with Jet. He had everything Jet wanted and more. Just couldn't quite get by him. But this will happen. Like I said, I see a lot of this happening over the summer here, of these two trading back and forth motos, because next, it'll be Chase getting starts and Jet trying to pass him. The one thing I have to say, though, is, man, even that second moto, and they mentioned this on the broadcast, Jet does not look like he's trying. And like, as fast as he's going, if he doesn't look like he's trying and he's going that fast, if he's actually trying, I don't know what that means for everybody else. You have to look at practice. Practice was the one spot that raised my eyebrows. The last lap of practice, when no one was going faster in that second qualifying practice there, when no one was going faster, Jet went 2 seconds faster than everybody. I mean, that lap was insane. That one made me go, whoa. So we'll see going forward. Again, Fox Raceway is kind of an enigma. He's very, very good there. So we'll see going forward. And like I said, I think Chase will stay with him and win motos and everything else. Talking about let's move on to third place here with Dylan, because he went 3-3. Math was super easy for like the first 3 there. So he goes 3-3 for third overall. I do think that if Dylan stays healthy here, once we get to about halfway through the season, you're going to see Dylan be able to kind of stay with those guys more so than yesterday. They made it very apparent throughout the broadcast. He has not been on the bike that much. So that injury, that concussion he had during Supercross really took it out of him. And so he's only been on the bike a couple of weeks. So I think for the first round, that was good. But I think you're going to see a lot of this. He might be just like the third best guy and maybe getting challenged by Webb too. Him and Webb are basically building the same, because Webb was also hurt a little bit later, but also hurt. And so I think they're going to ride themselves into shape here. I do believe that Dylan's going to be better by the end of the year, because Dylan wants it more. Coop doesn't care about outdoors. So I do think you'll see Dylan get up there in the mix once we get past about halfway. Maybe about the time we get to Redbud, because I think Redbud's about round 5. He might be able to get up in there, but I'm I mean, it's one of those things. You can't lose the title the first day, or you can't win it, but you can lose it, and definitely didn't lose it there. He's in the mix, okay? Basically, all of the top 6 are in the mix at this point. AP, 4th. I feel bad for AP. He rode his balls off to get that 4th. He should have been on the box. He was dogging Dylan, and, a couple crashes in that first moto. It just wasn't his day. But realistically, these top 6, this is kind of what I see going forward here until other guys start to come back. But that was a good ride for Aaron. He was pushing the pace yesterday. But again, he is a tick off of what Chase and Jet can do. So this is kind of where I see him topping out as 4th, maybe a 3rd here and there, but pretty much 4th. Webb gets 5th with a 4.5, and he rode okay yesterday. Starts were good. He hasn't had a lot of time on the bike, so I didn't really expect much out of him. I kind of expected him in this top 6 here. So we'll just see how it works going forward. AC, it was 6th with a 6.7. That was an okay ride for him. Again, not losing title chances per se in the first one, but not really. He didn't lose it, but he's not in a good spot. I think moving forward, I was listening to his podcast the other day, and he was talking about the stem cells, and they say the stem cells usually take between like 6 to 12 weeks to set in. He took stem cells 1 week, rode the next week, so he has more stem cells banked at the place he went and had it done in Kansas. He's going back after the season to get more stem cells put into his arm there. I'll be interested to hear some stuff come out this week as to how his arm felt, whether it was an arm situation or it's just that he hasn't really rode a whole bunch of outdoor situation, whatever's going on there. I'll be interested to hear it. So, like I said, AC 6.7 on the day for 6th. And now we're going to kind of get into Privateer Island here. So Grant Harlan, 9.6 for 7th overall. That was a really good ride. Jose Butron, he is from Spain. He is a GP rider. He comes in, goes 10.8 for 8th, so that was good for him. Lorenzo Lacrucio, he goes 7.11 for 9. Freddie Noren goes 13.9 for 10th. I don't have a lot on any of these guys here because this is kind of what we were expected to see, is a bunch of these guys getting really, really good finishes here. Jerry Robin had a really good day. He was running inside the top 10 a lot of the day, goes 8.14 for 11th. Chiz shows up just because Chiz has to race everywhere. He goes 12.13 for 12. Dante Oliveira, I believe he's the off-road guy for KTM. He goes 15.12 for 13th, so that's good. Ryan Surratt, who's an off-road guy now, he goes 11.17 for 14th. Derek Drake making his 450 debut. This is actually really good for him. He goes 37.10 for 15th. I don't know what happened that first moto. He must have went down. But getting 15th overall and 10th in the second moto, that's pretty good. We'll have to keep an eye on him going forward. Caden Amarine goes 14.20 for 16th. Marshall Welton, 31.15 for 17th. Luca Marsalisi, 18.18 for 18th. Romain Pape? I don't know, he's French. 23.16 for 19th. And RJ Wageman, 16.33 for 20th. Shout out to Michigan's own Jace Kessler and Chris Prebula going 21 and 22 overall. Let's see here. Also, Michigan's Jeff Walker, 27th overall. Let's see here. I don't really see anybody else. So comment down below if there was anyone else that you guys were keeping an eye on, say for fantasy purposes or whatever. But yeah, as far as I said, that's pretty much what I see the 450 class being, is there's not going to be a lot of interesting stuff happening other than watching Jet and Chase battle all summer. So that, for what I have to say, is your 450 race recap from presented by Gutter Works, always well hung like Justin Barsha.